Various tech executives, including the CEO of Google, have gone on stage and made less than sensitive remarks about the future of artificial intelligence. The one that has gone really viral at the moment is Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, going up during a commencement speech and telling these young people going out into the workforce what an exciting time it is for them with artificial intelligence, and getting booed. And I think quite rightfully so. And it displays the difference between what people in San Francisco and the tech elite are thinking about artificial intelligence compared to the actual people who are going to be entering the workforce, the 20, 21, early 20-year-olds who are coming into this world where artificial intelligence is having a huge impact on their ability to get started with work. So Schmidt versus Woz. Actual intelligence without opportunity becomes frustration. So first up, Eric Schmidt. You've probably seen this video going around. Eric Schmidt was the CEO of Google, I think from 2001 to 2011, 10 or so. So that kind of 10 years when Google became dominant. Remember, Google came out of the dot-com boom and the dot-com crash and did extremely well. That was mainly under Eric Schmidt's tutelage, chaperonage, whatever you want to call it. So a very successful CEO, no longer with them, but he was given a commencement speech at the University of Arizona a couple of days ago, and he got booed on stage. If you watch the video, his tone, they're slightly tone deaf, what he's talking about. So former CEO Eric Schmidt was booed by students as he spoke about the rise of AI during a speech at the University of Arizona's graduation ceremony, underscoring growing anxiety over AI's impact on jobs. I know many of you, this is Eric saying this, I know many of you are feeling about that. The future is not yet finished. It is now your turn to shape it. Gloria Caulfield also got booed last week for saying the rise of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution. Basically, a lot of executives, tech execs, are going and giving public speeches to Gen Z, to graduates, and saying, hey, isn't this exciting? How wonderful for you that artificial intelligence is here, and it's up to you to embrace it and run with it. And that has not gone down very well. So Eric Schmidt was talking about AI is going to shape the world, and basically you need to get on board with this, and you need to be... This did not go down very well, and he was booed, and he was not the only one. Whereas we go to Steve Wozniak, and I will post this video in the newsletter because I think less people have seen this. Steve Wozniak was a co-founder of Apple, along with Steve Jobs, and he is the technical brains, the technical genius behind a lot of the early Apple products. But then he pulled back from the limelight, and he wasn't so involved in the kind of the business and the financial wranglings of Apple moving forward. He's always been the brain. He always wanted to create. He did not want to get involved in the hijinks required to run a corporation of that size. So he went up on stage and he gave a commencement speech and he said, you've all got AI. AI is really important. And he says, nope, you have actual intelligence. That is what AI is. And he talks about how he's worked in companies for years and they've always been trying to build artificial brains. They've always tried to create and synthesize brains in the lab. And he says, actually, there is an easy way to do it, and it only takes 9 months. So he's basically saying that humans have something that is innate, something that is unique to them. They have actual intelligence and something that they can use. And this is met with applause from the graduating students, because he's saying you have judgment, you have curiosity, you've got creativity, you've got ideas in a way that AI, artificial intelligence, never can. I think, this is tricky, I think that Eric is probably more correct. Eric, the guy who got booed. He's basically telling these young people that AI is here and you're going to have to deal with it. And the best thing you can do is to take advantage of it and to build and to create and to chaperone us into this new age. But he's saying, pull your head out of the sand. This is the new reality. I think that Steve Wozniak's ideas of, actual intelligence is vital and you have something that is extremely important and only you have. I think that is a lovely idea. But actual intelligence without opportunity, without the ability to apply that intelligence to something, is only going to lead to frustration. And we're seeing this already with the workforces. We're seeing this already with young people who are very smart, but they do not have jobs. They do not have somewhere where they can apply that intelligence. So it's all well and good saying that we have something unique and special, but if society is not rewarding us for that, if society is not giving us the opportunity to use that, it's just going to be increasingly more frustrating. If entry-level work is shrinking, then intelligence is nowhere to become experienced. We cannot build on it. We cannot create anything. And that's going to lead to a huge amount of disillusionment, a huge amount of ennui over the next few years, as all these very bright young people come out of university and cannot do anything because the jobs are not there for them. And Gen Z as a whole are not that anti-AI. Yes, there's a lot of anti-AI rhetoric, but they actually use AI just as much as most generations. And 95% of UK students use AI in at least one way. 51% of Gen Z use generative AI daily or weekly, according to Gallup. They are using it just as much as anyone else. They just don't trust the deal that they're being given by these tech companies, that the narrative that is being pushed on them. And they are entirely correct to question this, because they are getting the short end of the stick here. Because they're being told by the university, don't use AI, you need to learn, make this learning and knowledge intrinsic, you need to build up your skills. And then they're going out into a marketplace that does require them to use AI. They're being told one thing and then they require another. So they're not necessarily building up the skills using artificial intelligence that they need inside of their job. There's a mismatch between education and the university. And this is on top of macroeconomic factors, on top of hyperinflation, on top of interest rates, etc. All of these other elements are making it very difficult to get started in life right now. It's only going to get worse as well. So what's happening, and this is why I think for Gen Z, it's very, very reasonable to boo, very reasonable to be upset about this, is that the entry-level jobs are being removed. So artificial intelligence is not coming in and just taking jobs. That is far too crude a mechanism. What it is doing instead, and this is more insipid, so I don't think people have quite realized, is it is removing the creation of new jobs. So the new jobs are down. The jobs are not being created. So AI is not taking jobs per se. It's not taking it away from specific people. It's not like you come to work and Sandra is no longer there because AI has taken Sandra's job. No, that's not the mechanism. The mechanism is, oh, we're just not going to create new roles. We're not going to create new jobs. We're not going to open up new positions. And that disproportionately hits the younger people, because the type of tasks that artificial intelligence is good at are those lower level jobs right now. So drafting, research, admin, QA, support, junior analysis. Like in legal firms, for example, it's going to be discovery, going through huge amounts of documentation and finding patterns, pulling out pertinent information. That would be the kind of grunt work that legal clerks would cut their teeth on and build their skills with. That's gone. That's wiped out, because AI is really good at that. And that's happening across different industries, where we can just replace that grunt work that you needed to do to learn. We can just replace that with AI. So it means that the people coming out of university they're getting stiffed, basically. So entry-level roles requiring some college are already down 35% since January 2023. And highly exposed AI entry-level roles are down 40% since January 2023. So it's not taking jobs, it is stopping new jobs being created. And there's always this idea that, oh, well, no, it's fine because AI is going to create new jobs. We're going to need people who are running the AIs, automation specialists, workflow designers, AI trainers, AI operations. A couple of things. This doesn't help the Gen Z, because the people who are able to do these new roles are the people who have already been in a particular industry for a decade, 2 decades. The people who know what the workflows are, who know what the problems are, who know how AI can help. If you are a millennial or older, great. You can work with AI because you have had all of the experience working without AI for the last couple of decades. You're in a really good position. That does not help people who are in Gen Z, who are not able to work with the AIs to build these systems, because they have not come up through these industries, have not come up through these jobs and learnt the ropes, because there's no progression route for them to do so. At the same time, these new roles that are appearing, this is new, they can be taken by AI. Previously, with every technological revolution, we would create new jobs, and those new jobs would be taken by humans. That is no longer the case anymore. A new job can be taken by an AI. So we can create a new job, a new role, which is a workflow designer. And guess what? Guess what AI is good at? It's really good at designing workflows. So this is the first time that a technology can create new roles and then immediately take those new roles. It can even design those roles so that it is better at them than a human being. So just because we need new roles, new tasks to be able to run these AIs does not mean we need humans to do it, and we certainly don't need Gen Z. It's going to be people who have more experience. More likely that it's just going to be the AI. So this is new. This is a new shift in technology and why we do need to be worried. So what do we do? I think just booing tech executives doesn't do that much. Unfortunately, I wish it did, but much worse has happened to them and it hasn't changed their behavior. And AI is not going to slow down just by us yelling at it and waving our fists and shouting about how much water it uses. That's not going to do anything. What you need to do personally is work out what this means for you and how you are going to deal with it. I mean, that can be total, I'm not going to touch this, that's absolutely fine, but you need to get ready for what that means for your life moving forward. I think if you are in Gen Z right now, you should be looking at starting a business. You should be looking at freelancing. You should be looking at putting together some kind of service and taking control of your own income, because you can no longer rely on a 9 to 5 being the safe option. Those career ladders and those career progressions have been kicked out and they are not open for you in a way that they were before. And even when they are, the salaries and the income within those traditional routes are going to be compressed compared to previously. That is no longer a good deal for you. That means that being more entrepreneurial, starting something yourself, I'm not talking about a startup, I'm talking about something that carves out a few $1,000s for you to live on a month. I think that is now a much more reasonable thing to do than it was before. Previously, starting a business was very high risk, very high reward. Might work, might not work. If it works, then you can make it a lot of money, fantastic, but most of the time it would not work. So the safe option was to go and get a 9 to 5, which is low risk, low reward. You'd turn up, you'd get paid, so it was low risk, low reward. That is no longer the case. That is no longer low risk because jobs are being removed. Or if you're in Gen Z coming out of uni, you might not be able to find a job for the next couple of years or ever. So that is no longer low risk, but it is still low reward because the incomes, once you get into a 9 to 5, are being compressed and are much lower than the cost of living. So the old deal of get a university degree, enter a profession, move your way up the career ladder, that's gone. You need to look at alternatives. And one alternative, again, only one, is the one that I push, the one that I suggest, which is creating something, carving out your own space, building something and selling it to people. So starting to set up a portfolio, doing client work, building a small product, some kind of automation in order to generate a side income. That is entirely what AI with Kyle, my website, is about. There are many, many free courses on here. There's the newsletter, which is free, is helping people to get ready for artificial intelligence and what is coming by setting up your own income, basically taking responsibility and not just waiting for a government bailout, not just waiting for, universal basic income. Our governments are not in a position to be able to deal with these things. So we cannot just wait for somebody to help us. You need to take some responsibility. So the old promise, get a degree, get a job, climb the ladder, that's gone. It's done. That is over. And we can boo at Eric Schmidt, we can boo at the tech executives, we can wave our fists, but it's still done. It does not matter how angry we get about it. You need to work out what you're going to do about it. How are you going to feed yourself? How are you going to feed your family? How are you going to look after your community? That requires you taking a certain amount of personal responsibility. And I know a lot of people are not going to like that, and they're going to scream and shout at me and say, that's all well and good for you, blah, blah, blah. It does not matter. This is gone. The old world is gone, and you need to do something about it. So learn these tools, build proof that you can create something of value, that you can do something that's useful, remain useful, keep upskilling, keep learning, keep your options open, create something yourself, own something and build that. What that is totally up to you. For me, my recommendation would be you build some kind of business. So the backlash against Eric Schmidt, against these various tech executives, incredibly understandable. This is not just because Gen Z are anti-AI. It's not some Ludditism, whatever the word would be. This is a very reasonable reaction to what is happening right now. But just booing at Eric Schmidt is not going to do anything. You need to take responsibility for what your personal next steps are. All of this will be available in the newsletter. So you can get the newsletter at aiwithkyle.com. So you see the last one, for example, is about the Codex mobile app. And there's lots of different practical guides on here. How to prompt, how to do content, a run through of the Anthropic's AI fluency course, etc., etc. A huge amount of stuff all on this website, all for free, so you can learn and start building yourself. Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you are subscribed over at aiwithkyle.com, totally free. I will put the slide deck, so this one that I covered today. I'm also going to put the 2 videos, so the graduation speech or commencement speech from Eric Schmidt and the one from Steve Wozniak, so you can compare them yourselves, plus everything else into the newsletter, so you'll be able to get that, and there'll be an edited, tidied up version of the presentation on YouTube as well. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube and to the newsletter, and I will see you. Thank you, guys.